Hello everyone, it's Sean again. I'd just like to go on about my final thing about the Palace Arms. About a month ago I phoned and asked College Street, the police association, about, could they give me any information about my ID or some of my personal belonging. So the woman on the line sounded like she was about 80 years old. I talked to her on the payphone, and she said that in the month of July, mail was sent to me, and then also in the month of November, mail was sent to me. At both times they were brown packages. I never received them. What I think happened was that they were probably sent to my old address, 950 King Street West, in both occasions. I do believe the police knew that I no longer lived there. Why they would send it to 950 King Street West is beyond me. So what probably happened is Bernie Tishman, the owner of the palace, who receives all the mail, probably received the mail, marked on it, send back to the post office. What probably happened was a guy like Jeremy Murray, who works there, probably got the mail, and probably it either got back in the mailbox or it went missing. You can't trust this guy. He's an alcoholic. So on the two-piece envelopes, which I still don't know what was inside those two envelopes, went missing. And unfortunately for me, I'll never know what was in those two packages and what was delivered to me. My social insurance card is still somewhere within 14th Division, and so is my birth certificate. Luckily, I have a backup birth certificate, so that doesn't really matter. But the SIN card, I've got to go out and pay $10 for. Lovely. This is just some of the things that you encounter in your life, the bad luck you encounter, and you've just got to deal with it, I guess. But my second thing would be about Daniel J. Towsey. I've been watching a few of his videos. He's a very interesting guy. The videos about him getting wheelchair accessibility to Halifax, Nova Scotia were very interesting videos. I do find that in a lot of the videos he was kind of rude and abrasive. If he had to tone down his rhetoric and just remained a little bit more calm and spoke with a little bit more ease, he could have achieved more. It seemed like he was being, very strong-willed, and he was trying to give his opinion forcefully. If he just had listened a little bit better and spoke with a more calmer voice, I think he would have got his point of view. But he came across as sometimes as rude and abrasive, and I think that's why the Halifax Transit probably didn't like those videos too much. But a lot of what he has to say is the truth. I mean, when he speaks, Daniel J. Towsey, I would say that not 100% of what he has to say is the truth. I would say that 70% of what he says is the truth. 30% I'm trying to decipher. I don't really agree with. But that's our society, Dan. You've got to listen to people, Mr. Daniel J. Towsey, because listening's an important thing. You just can't keep talking and not let the person get their point of view in. I listen to you, and I find that 70% of what you have to say, Mr. Daniel J. Towsey, is I agree with. 30% I don't. That's a democratic right. He kind of reminds me of a guy here in Toronto named Kevin Clark. Kevin Clark was the type of guy, how can I say that? He was always out on the street corner preaching. I believe he got arrested 50 times or so. But unlike Daniel J. Towsey, he had the backing of OCAP, Ontario Coalition Against Poverty. The public health nurse was backing his place, so they always found a place for him. They always took him under his wing. It doesn't look like Daniel J. Towsey had any government organizations or public health nurse or anybody backing his place, so he was in a rather difficult situation to try to make a comeback. I do know that last video I checked he was homeless or something in a truck. But, that's the whole key, that you've got to have people backing your play. You've got to have some of these government organizations, some of these charity organizations, family backing your play, because if you don't, you're in for a tough ride. And unfortunately, in his case, he didn't really have family members or any organizations, charity or government or whatever, backing his play. Whether these organizations were against him, that's a possibility. But his videos are quite intriguing and very interesting, and similar to mine, my videos have been basically about the hassle that I went through at the Palace Arms, or the trauma and the stress I had about the Palace Arms, and right now I'm getting over that, and it was that was going back to April of 2016, and I'm picking up the pieces and trying to go on the best I can. That's the only thing I can say. You just got to try your best, do the best you can, and put your first foot forward and try to keep going on day by day. I don't really think you can be bitter and angry because it starts eating you up, but I'm just trying to stay positive and taking it day by day and see what happens day by day. And I think Daniel J. Towsey, I think that's should be your motto, is to take it day by day and keep plugging away, and eventually something may happen. As for Kevin Clark, you notice that he had a low profile after the election loss, and he's mellowed out too. I mean, Daniel J. Towsey, Kevin Clark, me, Sean, we're all over 50 years of age. It's time that we had to mellow out, and we can't live this being angry. We've got to try to remain calm, and we're not kids anymore. We can't do what we used to do, and we've got to just try to mellow out. And that's all I have to say. Thanks.